So yeah, I've started the recording. So let's get started with today's session, right? So yeah, I couldn't write the agenda from beforehand, but yeah, just give me 1 second so we can write it out. Okay, so the idea for today's class is pretty simple, right? So we are going to start with the concept of arrays, okay? And again, arrays is something that is very, extremely important. And, arrays will be helping us a lot throughout our journey, right? So it's very important that all of us understand the topic of arrays extremely well, right? And the more comfortable and the more familiar we will be with arrays, the better we will be in our DSA journey, right? So it is a very important topic, right? Yeah, we will do the prime number and Armstrong number. So what I wanted to do is today, first of all, we will be, introducing arrays to you. Like, why do we need arrays? What are arrays? How do I declare array? How do I, do all the operations on the array and all these things, right? Then we'll try to take up a couple of questions on arrays. After that, we can go back to our, prime number discussion and a couple of questions which were pending. Okay, cool. So just give me 1 second. Okay, is my screen visible? Is it visible to everyone? Arrays? Okay, cool. So let's get started, right? Let's get started. So what are arrays and why do we need arrays in the first place, right? So it's very important for us to understand why even we need to study about something known as an array. Okay. So till now we studied about, data types, variables, conditionals, loops, and all these things, right? And we were able to write basic programs and, all our logic was being performed fine, right? So then you will ask me, why do I need to study something known as an array? Till now my life was pretty simple. I knew data types, I knew variables, and I could perform all the operations on those variables, right? Then why do I need to learn arrays in the first place? Okay. So why do I even need to study about arrays in the first place? So think of it like this, right? So till now, whatever variables we have been dealing with, right, they have been like individual variables, right? So you had variables like sum, you had variables, different variables, and you were able to perform all your calculations on those variables, right? Now let me give you an example. Let's say that I am talking about the marks of a student. Okay. So when I talk of the marks of a student, there is voice issue. Your voice is not clear. Am I audible fine? Okay, cool. Okay. Yeah. So let's say that I ask you that, hey, I have to deal with the marks of a student. Okay. So if I want to deal with the marks of a student, I can make a variable. What can be the variable name? Int. Let's call it as, why don't I see this thing? Just give me 1 second, guys. I think today my laptop is behaving quite weirdly. I'm not sure like what's happening. Just give me 1 second. What happened? Okay. I think this laptop's time has come. So, anyways, just 1 second. Okay. Yeah. So what I wanted to tell you guys is, so let's say we are, talking about the marks of one student, right? So when I want to deal with the marks of one student, what can I do? I can have simple one variable, and in that one variable, I can track the marks of that student. Okay. So let's say I have a mark, variable, let's say marks, and inside that variable, I can keep the track of the marks of the students. Now let's say I am, dealing with 10 students, right? Let's say I'm dealing with 10 students or 5 students. Then I have to process the marks of these 10 different students. Do you all agree? Let's say that I want to deal with 10 students. Then there will be the marks associated with these 10 students. So what do I do? What do I do? One option will be for me to boss maintain 10 separate variables. Just 1 second, guys. I think It's better to get it done once. Let's make the screen black. Yeah, I'll repeat. Okay. So I have started with the concept of arrays. Okay. Screen is not showing properly. Just give me 1 second. I think I'll need to change the laptop. Like it's become very slow. Okay. Now let's come and hopefully it doesn't hang now. Okay. So I want to introduce you guys to the concept of arrays. Okay. So first of all, what I want you guys to understand is till today or till now, right? We have looked at individual variables. Okay. So let's say we were talking of the marks of one student or two students. So I can basically take two variables, right? Let's say I take a variable int student1, and inside this variable, I can store the marks of the first student. Okay. I can have another variable, let's say int student2, and in this variable, I can store the marks of the second student. So if I have very small number of students to deal with, right, I can, let's say maybe, make 5 variables or make 6 variables, right? Hello? Guys, am I audible? My screen and voice are both the visible and audible? Okay, cool. So, till now, if your number of variables were less, right? If the number of students are low, let's say there are only 3 or 4 students that we are dealing with, right? So I can simply deal with 3 to 4 different variables and I can track the marks of all the students in these variables. But what if I tell you, hey Adarsh, you have to deal with 100 students, okay? You are dealing with the marks of 100 students. I am dealing with the marks of a class of 100 students. Then do you think it will be practically possible for me to make 100 different variables to track the marks of 100 students? In student 1, in student 2, in student 3, in student 4, in student 5, likewise still in student 100. It will be very, very painful for me to, name 100 different variables and then maintain 100 different variables. Very, very difficult to keep track of, right? That is where I introduce the concept of arrays. Boss, I want, see, the marks of these 100 students is something very similar, right? All these 100 students are studying in the same class, right? And their data is related. Right? So instead of having 100 different variables to keep the track of the marks of 100 different students, what I tell you, boss, I can have a container. Listen to my words very carefully. I can have a container, okay? And inside this container, there will be 100 cells or there will be 100 blocks. Okay. Think of it like, okay, I will have a container. Okay. And inside this container, there will be 100 blocks. Okay. And every block will store the marks of a particular student. So let's say I write here the marks of the first student, 58, the marks of the second student, 33, the marks of the third student, 99, the marks of the fourth student, 100, fifth student, 5, okay, and the sixth student, let's say 87. Likewise, I can write the marks of 100 different students inside this container. Okay. So what I am telling you, ki boss, I have a container. Okay. And inside this container, there are 100 different blocks or 100 different cells or locations. And inside each of these locations, I can store the marks of one student. So in these 100 different blocks, I can store the marks of 100 different students. Okay. And what I will do is, I will name this container. I will give a particular name to this container. Let us call it as marks. Okay. So now I have to deal with just one container by the name of marks. And I know, ki boss, when I want to see what is the marks that was obtained by the third student, I will just go to the third location of my container and see that, yes, the third student has obtained 99 marks. Okay. This container is what I call as an array. Okay, let me give another practical example, right? So, you have seen that when people take medicines, right? When people take medicines, let's say if you have to take only small number of medicines, right? Let's say if you have only 2 or 3 tablets to take, then you can easily remember when to take the tablets and you can take the tablets, on time. But let's say you have a large number of medicines to take. You are dealing with a large number of medicines. Okay. And let's say that we are talking of old people, right? Who might not remember when to take medicines and at what time. So let's say if you have multiple medicines, okay, if you are dealing with hundreds of medicines or tens or 15s of medicines, then it might not be possible for you to consume the medicines individually. Okay, it might not be very easy for you to remember when to take what medicine. So there I tell you, have you seen such a thing in place? You might have seen a medicine dispenser. Okay, you might have seen a medicine dispenser that people maintain. And inside that medical dispenser, what is there? There are multiple blocks. Okay, there are multiple compartments. And people generally write, in this compartment, I will store the medicines that I need to take on Monday. In this compartment, I will keep the medicines that I need to take on Tuesday. In this compartment, I will store the medicines that I need to take on Wednesday. Likewise, in the last compartment, I will, store the medicines that I need to take on Sunday. Now, what has happened with the introduction of this compartment or container? Okay, with the introduction of this container, now it becomes very easy for me to consume the medicines. Okay, I will never forget which medicine I have to take on a particular day. So let's say today is Wednesday. Okay, when I know that today is Wednesday, I can simply go and open this box. Okay, open this cell of Wednesday, and I can consume all the tablets that are placed inside this particular cell. Okay, so this is what an array is actually helping us to do. Think of it like an array is like a container. Okay, and you can group your similar data inside your container. So you can put together all the similar type of data inside your container so that later you can easily access your data from this particular container. Okay. Now, so think of it like, I will say something like this. Let's say we are dealing with the marks of 100 students, right? There are two different scenarios for us, right? Let's say we are dealing with the marks of 10 students for our, practical understanding. So what is the first situation? The first situation was, boss, you are maintaining 10 different variables. Okay. So let's say int stud1 से लेकर int student 10. Okay, you are maintaining 10 different variables and you are storing the marks of the individual students in the individual variables. Okay, but now what do I tell you, boss? I want to store the marks of these 10 students at one particular place, right? I don't want to maintain 10 separate variables for storing the marks of these 10 students. I want to have a container. I want to have a container in which I can put, I want to have a container in which I can put the marks of these 10 students. And later I can access the marks of these 10 students in a very, very convenient fashion. So that is where I tell you, okay, you can take the help of a container, which I call as an array. So what is an array? An array is nothing but a container. Very, very in simple terms, an array is a container in which you can store your data. Okay. And what I will tell you, boss, I need this array to have 10 compartments. Listen to me very carefully. I will tell boss, I need this array to have 10 compartments so that inside each cell, I can store the marks of a student. And if there are 10 cells inside this array, I can store the marks of 10 students. Okay. So I tell boss, I want to make a container. I want to get a container which will be, sufficient to store the marks of 10 students. Okay. So a container will be created and you will have 10 particular cells in this container. Okay. Let's just count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So 10 cells have been made inside this container. And in each of these cells, you can store the marks of a particular student. Now, one thing that I want you guys to understand is whenever you make an array, right, in every particular cell, you can store the same data type. Okay. Every cell will store the same data type. Okay. So what is the marks of student look like? What is the data type for marks? Can anybody tell me? How does the marks of a student look like? It is an integer, right? So I will tell you, boss, this container, this array container is an array of integers. It is an array of integers. You can store integers inside every particular block or every particular cell. But you cannot make an array like this. Boss, in the first box, I want to store an integer. In the second box, I want to store a character. In the third box, I want to store a string. No, something like this cannot be done. whenever you make a container or whenever you make an array, right? Every cell of your array will store the same data type. The data type must be the same. So I will somehow tell my compiler, ki, hey, I want to make a container, okay, or I want to make an array, okay, and my array should be sufficient to store the marks of 10 students. And what is the data type of marks? The data type of marks is an integer, okay. So an array will be made for me, and this array will have 10 cells, 10 blocks, right? And every block will be sufficient to store an integer data type. So can you tell me what is the space allocated for each block inside my container? What is the space given to each block or each cell? Can anybody tell me? 4 bytes, right? Because I am telling you, boss, every cell should be able to store an integer, right? So if I am making an array for storing integers, every cell in the array will have size of 4 bytes. And because I am making an array of size 10, I am making an array sufficient to store 10 integers. Then the total space that this array will take up will be nothing but 10 into 4, which is 40 bytes. Do you all agree with me? Right? Inside memory, 40 bytes will be reserved, and this 40 bytes will be, given to your array. Okay. And these 40 bytes will have, 10 cells, each of 4 bytes each. Okay. So think of it like this, ki mere paas memory hai. Okay. Think of it like I have memory. Okay. And I somehow tell ki boss, I want to reserve an array of integers of size 5. Okay. I am telling, I want to reserve an array of integers of size 5. That means I want to reserve space in my memory that is sufficient to store 5 integers. So how much space will be reserved? 5 into 4, that is 20 bytes. 20 bytes of memory will be reserved for you. And then the compiler will tell you, hey, this is the array. Okay, let us say I call my array as ARR. So this array will be reserved in memory, and I will get access to this array. Okay. Now, one very interesting thing that I want you guys to understand about an array is every cell of the array is present in contiguous memory location. Okay. The cells of the array are present in contiguous memory locations. Now, what do I mean when I say this? I mean to say that all these blocks are one after the other in memory. Okay. After this block, you have immediately this block. Then you have immediately this block. Then you have immediately this block. Okay. Yeah, I'll slow down. Okay. So what I want you guys to understand is whenever you make an array, okay, whenever you declare or reserve an array in memory, what happens is the array is reserved as one whole chunk of memory. Okay. The array is reserved as one whole chunk of memory. Okay. One entire block of memory. It is not like one block is reserved here, another block is reserved here, another block is reserved here. No, the array is reserved as one single memory chunk. Okay. So if I want to reserve an array of size 5, then 5 blocks will be reserved in the memory, one after the other. So let's say if I tell you, ki boss, the location of this particular cell is 1000. Okay. This particular cell, the first cell of my array, is starting at location 1000. So can I say the second block will start at location 1004? If every block is of 4 bytes, can I tell you? If my first block is starting at address number 1000 and every block is 4 bytes long, right? Can I tell you the first block is at address 1000, 1001, 1002, 1003. The second block will start at address number 1004. The third block will start at address 1008. The fourth block will start at address 1012. The fifth block will start at address 1016. That is what I mean to say when I say that the array elements are located in contiguous memory locations. Contiguous. मतलब एक के बाद एक, right? इस cell के बाद immediately you will get this next cell. इसके बाद you will immediately get this next cell. Okay? मतलब एक single chunk of memory is reserved. एक single block of memory is reserved, right? It is not like one cell is reserved here, one cell is reserved somewhere else, one cell is reserved somewhere else. No. It is like one entire big piece of chocolate, one entire chocolate bar that is reserved for you in memory. Okay. And then you will have multiple cells inside this chocolate bar. Okay. Is the basic idea making sense? Cadbury का bar देखो, single bar, or think of it like a single bar of Cadbury, right? That is it. Okay. Multiple blocks are there, but this entire, bar is one as a whole. It is not like this block is located somewhere else, this block is located somewhere else. Okay, cool. So now you will come and ask me, okay, we understood the idea of an array. Okay, you have a container, and inside your container you have multiple cells. Okay, and in each of the cell you can store certain information, and later you can access it in a more convenient fashion. Okay, but now you will ask me, okay, I got the basic idea of an array. But how do I store? How do I first of all declare an array? How do I store elements in the array? How do I retrieve elements from the array? All these questions you might be having. How do I use an array? Okay, I understood the concept, but how do I use it? Okay, so let us try to take an example to understand, first of all, how do I declare and make an array? Okay, how do I make an array? Okay, so first of all, yeah, I'll slow down. Okay, so I'll repeat once again for 2 minutes, right? I'll just repeat once again. So till now we have just studied about what an array will be. Okay, so I basically told you all that in order to get rid of the multiple individual variables that you have, okay, if I am talking about the data which are related to each other, I can avoid using individual variables for that particular data. I can simply make a container. I can make a container, or I can make an array like data structure, and inside this data structure I can store my data. Okay, now then what did I told you? I told you guys that inside this container, in every particular cell, you can store the same data type. It cannot happen like you want to store an integer in the first block, you want to store a character in the first block, you want to store a string in the third block. No, this is not permitted. If you are making an array for yourself, you can only store single data type inside your array blocks. So either every block will have an integer, or every block will have a character, or every block will have a string. Okay, so the same data type can be stored inside your array. What data type? You will have to explicitly tell your compiler. Okay, now the third important part that I told you guys is that, boss, whenever you make an array inside memory, whenever an array is reserved inside memory, all the array elements are located in contiguous memory locations. Now, what do I mean when I say this? All the array elements are one after the other. It is not like one element is here, the second element is somewhere far away in memory. No, all the elements are immediately one after the other in contiguous or adjacent memory locations. Okay, now what is the difference between index and an array address? Okay, I will tell you. See, addressing is something which is much more deeper. Okay, addressing is, think of it like you have gone down to the extreme bottommost layer, right? But do you really need that as an end user? I should know the address of my array. Think of it. I am telling you that the blocks of your array are basically present in contiguous memory locations. But as an end user of array, do I need to know what is the address of my first block? What is the address of my second block? What is the address of my third block? I don't need to know, right? I don't need to know. Okay. So first of all, let us try to understand, how do I make an array? Okay. How do I reserve an array in memory? Okay. So the first syntax that we will be talking about whenever I want to reserve an array, or whenever I want to make an array inside memory, right? So we write something like this. Hey, I'll give you the syntax. So see, this is, I am telling you, see, if you remember, right? If you remember, yeah, but as developer we might, but as a user or when writing simple codes, right? We don't need the address. Okay. I need to know what is the element present, but I don't need to know the physical address. Okay. So when we were declaring variables, do you remember we declared variables like this? Int a is equal to 5. So what did it mean? Ki, hey, I want to reserve the space for an integer data type. Okay. And the name of the variable or the name of that or the label of that space will be A. This was my variable name. And then I had the value assigned to this particular variable. This is how we used to declare and assign variables. Okay. Now, how do I declare an array? How do I declare an array in the first place? So I say int. See, these brackets that we put, right? These brackets, I'll explain in Hindi also. Just give me 2 minutes, right? So this third brackets that I put, I tell you all that, boss, you will have an array. You will have an array. An array of what data type? An array of integers. So I am telling you, boss, there will be an array of integers. That is, inside every cell, the data type will be integer. So there will be an array of integers. What is the name of the array? I am giving the name of the array as ARR. This is my label or reference to my array. Okay. This is the reference of the array. Okay. So my array name will be ARR equal to new int. Okay. And then within these square brackets, I will specify what is the size of the array that I want to make. So let's say I want to make an array of size 5. Okay. Semicolon. This is a very, very basic, way of making an array. So what are the important parts that you want to understand here? Ki boss, you will have an array of integers. You will have an array of integers. What is the name of the array? ARR. Okay. Equal to. Now, when I run the program, you know what will happen? During runtime, this statement will run new int 5 and the array object will be created. A new array will be created of type integers. Okay. So a new array will be created, which will be sufficient to hold integers. And how many integers? 5 integers. So a new array of size 5 will be created. So I will have an array like this. The name of the array will be ARR. So think of it like ARR will be pointing to this particular array. Okay. And this array will be made for me. Is everyone able to understand what is the physical meaning of this line? See, array is an object, right? We will, understand more about it in later details. But think of it like array is not a primitive data type, right? Array is not a primitive data type. Array is an object. Array is an object. And all the objects are created during runtime. When I run the program, then my array will get created. So think of it like this. When I write a statement like this, int, bracket open, bracket close, this is my third brackets, right? So I am telling boss, there will be an array. Listen to me very carefully. There will be an array of integers. Okay. So this is my array of integers. What will be the name of that array? The name of that array will be ARR. Okay. So ARR is nothing. ऐसा सोचो कि ARR is a pointer. ARR is pointing to an array. Okay, to an array of integers. इधर तक ही हुआ है अभी तक. ठीक है. So what is ARR? ARR is a reference or a pointer to an array of integers. Okay. And when I say equal to new int 5, so during runtime, what will happen? A new array object will be created. What is this new keyword? This new keyword is telling me to create a new array object. So during runtime, a new array object will be created. The size of the array object will be 5. Okay. So this array will be sufficient to hold 5 integers. Okay. And the pointer or the reference to this array will be ARR. ARR will be pointer to this particular array. Okay. Yes, you can write it. You can write this before the variable name or after the variable name also. Both are fine. ठीक है. मैं एक बार हिंदी में बोलता हूँ whatever I have done till now. ठीक है. मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ कि बॉस एरे क्या है? एरे एक डब्बा है. ऐसा समझो एरे कुछ नहीं है. एरे एक कंटेनर है जिसके अंदर मैं बहुत सारे डेटा टाइप्स को स्टोर कर सकता हूँ. ठीक है. तो एरे ऐसा होगा, एरे एक डब्बा की तरह होगा. थिंक ऑफ इट लाइक द एरे इज लाइक अ बॉक्स. और इस डब्बे के अंदर बहुत सारे सेल्स होंगे और हर सेल में मैं एक डेटा स्टोर कर सकता हूँ. ठीक है. और हर सेल में सेम डेटा टाइप स्टोर होगा. सेम डेटा टाइप. हाँ, ट्रेन की तरह सोच लो, राइट? You can even, think of it like a train cell, right? Train bogie. This is the first bogey, second bogey, third bogey, fourth bogey, fifth and sixth bogey. Okay. So now मैं क्या बोलता हूँ? Dabba is this cell, right? This box where you can store a particular value, right? So अब मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? मैं बोल रहा हूँ how do I make an array? How do I make an array? तो मैं बोलता हूँ हम लोग ऐसे लिखेंगे int then third brackets open close arr. This is the name of the array. This is the reference to the array. Okay. ऐसा सोचो कि बॉस ARR is the name of an array of integers. ARR क्या है? ARR is pointing to an array of integers. And what is that array? At runtime, जब मेरा program run होगा ना, then a new array object will be created. And what will be the size of that array object? 5. Okay. So an array of size 5 will be created, and the reference to this array will be ARR. Okay. Yes, you can say that ARR is a variable, or more accurately, you can say that ARR is the reference to an array. Okay. It is pointing to an array object. Okay. Now, so every cell will be sufficient to hold an integer. Okay. Now, when I make an array of size 5, okay, when I make an array of size 5, there will be 5 blocks in my array, and every block will be given a number. And that is where I introduce the concept of indexing. Okay. So every cell will have an index, and the array index starts from 0. So this first block will have an index 0. This second block will have an index 1. The third block will have an index 2. The fourth block will have an index 3. The fifth block will have an index 4. Okay. So if I make an array of size n, okay, if I make an array of size n, can I say the valid indexes will be from 0 till n minus 1? Can I tell you? If you make an array of size n, then the index will be from 0 till n minus 1. Okay. Indexing is, think of it like you are giving one number to every cell. How do you locate a cell, right? I tell you, hey Adarsh, can you please go to the cell with index number 1 and see what is the data? So you will come to this cell and you will see what is the data present inside this cell. Okay. Why start from 0? So in computers, right, whenever you talk of arrays, whenever you talk of strings, or whenever you talk of any data structure, right, the indexing always starts from 0. We always follow a 0-based indexing. Okay. Cool. So let's say that I have made an array of size 5. Okay, I have made an array of size 5. So my indexes will be from 0 till 4. Okay. And whenever you create a new array, whenever you make a new array, by default, all the data points will be 0. By default, every cell will contain a 0 value. Okay. Now, let's say I ask you, hey, can you store the value 5 at index number 2? Can you store the value 5 at index number 2? So how do I access a particular cell? How do I access a particular cell? So we access a particular cell like this. Let us say the name of the array is ARR. ARR is a reference to this particular array object. So I do something like this. ARR within brackets, I will write 2. Okay. That means I am referring to the cell at index number 2. Okay. So what is ARR of 2? ARR of 2 will tell me what is the data present at index number 2. It will tell me what is the data that is present at index number 2. So if you do a system.out.println ARR of 2, you are talking about what is the data present at index number 2, and that is 0. So if I do SOP ARR of 2, 0 will be printed. But let's say I want to store here the number 5. So I can write a statement like this. ARR of 2 is equal to 5. So this value 5 will be taken and this will be assigned to the location at index 2. Okay. So now the cell at index 2 will now store the value 5. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? This is how I access a particular cell of my array. Okay. ARR, then within these brackets, I will write the index number. So if you want to access this cell, okay, the cell at index 0, how will you do? ARR of 0, index 0. Okay. See, why we didn't use a double equal to, right? Because I want to assign a new value at this particular location, right? I don't want to do a comparison. What is ARR of 2? ARR of 2 is this location. I want to assign the value of 5 to this location. I want to store 5 here. Okay. See, guys, try to understand. Try to understand. What is index? What is index? See, index is, see, think of it like this. Okay, let's say that you have an array of size 5. So can I tell that you can store the marks of 5 students? Think of it. You can store the marks of 5 students, right? Let me call the array as marks. This is my marks array. Okay. So I am telling you that every cell will have a particular index. Okay. Because you have made an array of size 5, the index will be from 0 till 4. Okay. From 0 till 4, you have indexes in your array. So now think of it. Marks 0. Think of it like this is one variable. Okay. Marks of 1, this is another variable. Marks of 2, this is another variable. Marks of 3, this is another variable. And inside all these variables, you can store some particular data. So marks of 0 refers to this location. So if I do marks of 0 equal to 8, that means the marks of the 0th student or the first student is 8. Marks of 1 equal to 25. That means the marks of the second student is 25. Marks of 2 is equal to 100. That means the third student had a marks of 100. Okay. So whenever you say marks of 0, marks of 1, marks of 2, marks of 3, or marks of 4, right? You are referring to a particular location inside the array. You are referring to a particular data. Okay. So if I say marks of 4 is equal to 0, that means the student, this 5th student or the student with index 4, he got a marks of 0. So these are nothing but variables. Think of it like simple variables. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? Yes. Okay. So if I make an array of size n, okay, if I make an array of size n, what are the valid indices of your array? If I want to store n different elements in my array, I make an array of size n, then the valid index range will be from 0 till n minus 1. Okay. So if you make an array of size 5 and if you do something like ARR of 5, then this will give you an error. It will give you an error. It will say, boss, you have made an array of size 5. That means the valid indexes are from 0 till 4. So if you are saying, ki, boss, I want to visit or access index number 5, then you don't even have an index number 5 in your array. So it will give you a runtime error. Ki, boss, the valid region for you is from index 0 till index 4. So if you are trying to access index 5, you are going out of bounds. Okay. See, if you want a one-based indexing, right? See, if you want a one-based indexing, let's say you have 10 students, right? So you make an array of size 11. Okay. You make an array of size 11. So then it will contain cells from 0 till index number 10. And then you can use these indexes from 1 till 10 to store the marks of your students. Okay. But yeah, there is no other simple way of making one-based indexing. Okay. Yeah, ARR of 0 will definitely be there. You cannot get rid of the 0th index, right? You cannot get rid of that. For an array of characters and what the default types. Okay. I'll ask you guys to experiment here, right? It's pretty basic. Okay. You have default values as think of it like blank, string, null, right? Null. Okay. So is the basic idea making sense? Is the basic idea making sense? Right? So tell me, guys, tell me, let's say that I make an array of size n. Okay. I make an array of size n and my information is present in the array. Every cell is containing some data. And I want to print the contents of this array. How do I print the contents of the array? How can I print? Can anybody help me? I will need a loop, right? Because first of all, I will go to index 0, print the data of index 0. Then I will go to index 1, print the data of index 1. Then I will go to index 2, print the data of index 2. Likewise, I will go till index n minus 1 and print the data of index n minus 1. So can I say, in order to traverse through an array, in order to iterate through an array, I need to use a for loop. And how? For int I equal to 0, I will start at index number 0. I will go till n. I less than n means the value of I will be till n minus 1. So now I is taking valid indexes. And what I will do, system.out.println ARR of I. So see what will happen. First of all, the value of I will be 0 and I will print ARR of 0. That is the data which is present in the 0th index. Then the value of I will become 1 and I will print ARR of 1, which is the data present in index number 1. Then the value of I will be 2 and I will print the data present in the index number 2. Likewise, the value of I will go till n minus 1. And when I is equal to n minus 1, I am standing at the last location in my array. And I will print ARR of n minus 1, which is the data at the last cell. Okay. And then I will become equal to n. I will come outside the loop. So is this making sense, guys? They are the same. They are the same. Both ways of declaring are same. Okay. What happens if you don't store an element in the array? So if you don't store an element, right, by default, you have the default values present in the array. Okay. You have default values. So if I make an array of integers, by default, all the values will be 0. Okay. So let's go to compiler. Why can't we start from 1? Okay, good. Why can't we start from 1? Can you help me? Because see, I want to print the data which is present in the first cell, right? And what is the index of the first cell? 0. So I will have to start from index 0 and go all the way till index n minus 1. And that is how I can basically access all the data of my array one by one. Okay. So let's go to the compiler. Can you use a while loop? Yes, you can. You can definitely. Why not? But I think a for loop will be more, conventional and, the simpler way. Okay. So let's try to write some code, right? We'll try to write some code and understand. So till now, I only know how to make an array if I know the size of the array, right? I cannot make an array if I don't know the size of the array. Okay. And see, guys, the size of the array is fixed. Okay. You have to explicitly tell the compiler what is the size of the array that I want to make. Okay. So before the array is created, I need to know the size of the array that you want to make. Okay. And you cannot change the size of the array. Okay. So let's say I make an array of size 5. Okay. Some random information that I'm giving. Okay. Think of it like if I make an array of size 5, right? Then let's say you have stored five data points inside your array of size 5. You have stored 5 elements. Then let's say during running, I want to store one more element. I want to store another element. Can I extend the array? The answer is no. Okay. So the size of the array is always fixed. Always fixed. Okay. Yes, you can definitely take the size of the array input from the user. But what I am telling you is once you have made an array of a particular size, then you cannot reduce or increase the size of an array. You cannot change the size of an array dynamically. It is of fixed size once you have made it. Okay. Now, let's try to write some code and get some better understanding via code. Okay. Okay. So what I'll do is, first of all, let's not go for user inputs, right? So let's make an array ourselves, right? So I want to make an array of integers of size 5. Okay. So int this brackets, right? ARR. So what is the reference to my array of integers? Int ARR is equal to new int 5. Acha, now guys tell me, do you think my array has been created abhi? Do you think my array has been created while I write the program? The answer is no, right? When I run the program now, then my array will get created at runtime. Okay, when I run the program now, then my array object will get created. Okay, so okay, and what is the name of the array? ARR. So let's say that I want to print all the contents of this array. Okay, so my size of the array is 5. So what is the valid range of indexes? From index 0 till index 4. This is the valid range of indexes in this array from index 0 to 4. So let us say that I want to print the contents of this array. Okay. I have just made an array and I want to print the contents of the array. Okay. So what I will do? I will just iterate over the array. How? Using a very basic for loop. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. Okay. I know the size of the array is 5 and therefore I can use the for loop like this. For int I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus. And what do I want to do? I want to just print system.out.println ARR of I. So I am printing the contents of the array one after the other. Okay. So what do you expect to be printed? What do we expect to get printed? All zeros, right? Because initially when you make the array by default, because it is an array of integers, all the data or all the cells will have zero entry. Okay. So all zeros will be printed. Let us see. No, not random values. Okay. See, array is an object, right? And whenever you make an object, you basically have default values. You don't have garbage value. You have default values. Correct. Whenever you make an array, by default, zero-based indexing is there, right? Zero-based indexing is always there, right? You don't have a choice to change it, right? So zero is not a garbage value. I won't say that zero is a garbage value. Zero is the default value here. Okay. So you see, all the contents of the array is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. 5 places, 5, all are 0. Okay. So now, what if I don't want to write 5 here? Okay. I know that, boss, the label of my array is ARR. Why 0? Explain. Array. It's pretty simple, right? If I am making an array, what did I tell you? You are making an array of integers. Okay, you are making an array of integers. So because you are making an array of integers, by default, every data entry will have 0. Okay. See, मैंने एक container बनाया, and inside my container there are 5 locations, right? Every location will have a 0 by default whenever you are creating a new array. Okay. No. It doesn't show garbage value in Java. It might show in C or C++, but in Java it doesn't show. Okay. Cool. Now, what if I don't want to write the size of the array like 5? Okay. So what I will tell you is, whenever you make an array, right? Let's say you have the variable ARR. ARR is the name of the array. So every array has an attribute length. Every array has an attribute length associated with itself. So if I do something like ARR dot length like this, right? It will tell me what is the size of the array. So what do you think if I print here, ARR dot length, what do you think will be printed? What do you think? 5, right? Because the size of the array is 5. Okay. So for every array, you have a length attribute. Okay. So the name of the array dot length. Every array has a length attribute. No, not bracket open, bracket close, right? It is a property. What is an attribute? Think of the attribute as a property. Okay. It is a characteristic property associated with every array object. Okay. So when you do ARR dot length, no bracket open, bracket close, right? Only ARR dot length like this. So it will tell you what is the size of the array that we are talking about. Okay. So if I show it to here, if I run it, contiguous, right? So see guys, the first output is 5. What is ARR dot length? It is 5. That is the size of the array is 5. So instead of using a 5 directly here, what can I do? I can do something like this. I less than ARR dot length. Because I know that ARR dot length will tell me what is the size of the array. Okay. No, Ashutosh, we don't have to use length ke baad, we don't have to do this. No. In string, we have to do, because length is a function associated with a string. But for an array object, length is an attribute. It is a property. Okay. For now, just remember, whenever we are talking of arrays, you just have to write a dot length like this. Okay. If we start the array from ARR of 1 to ARR of n, so indexing starts from 1. See, indexing never starts from 1. Okay. If you want to use, you can use it in your way, right? But indexing will never start from 1. Let's say you make an array of size n plus 1. Okay. Let's say you make an array of size n plus 1. Then an entire array will be, reserved for you. And there will be n plus 1 locations here in this array. And the starting index will be 0 and ending index will be n. Okay. Now it is up to you. If you want to use between these locations, you can. But any day, the starting index will be 0 only. Okay. Correct. If you name the array as X, then you can do X dot length. X dot length. Okay. What is the requirement of ARR dot length? Here we didn't have a requirement, but just to make you guys understand that with every array object, you have a length attribute. So if you want to get the length of an array, you can do ARR dot length instead of hard coding the length. Okay. So is everyone clear with this basic code till now? Yes. So now let's say I have an array of size 5, right? So let's say I want to store, okay, I want to store, or let's say I want to have a situation like this. Okay, so I want to store a 3 here and I want to store a 6 here. Okay, and all others will be 0. Can you tell me what should I do? I want 0, 3, 0, 6, 0. So what are the two places where I should alter my data? Index number 1 and index number 3. Do you agree? Do you agree? Index number 1 and index number 3 is the place where I will do the changes. So I will say ARR of 1, index number 1, right, is equal to 3. And I will say ARR of 3 is equal to 6. Okay. Now if I print the contents of my array, what will be printed? 0, 3, 0, 6, 0. Do you all agree? Do you all agree? Yes. Let's try to once again print for int I is equal to 0, I less than ARR dot length. Okay. I plus plus, iterating over the array. Okay. And I will print like this so that it's more easier to follow. ARR of I. And after this, I'm just printing a space. Okay. So now what I'm doing, I'm just printing all the elements, all the contents of the array in the same line, right? If you run it and see. See, 0, 3, 0, 6, 0. Is this making sense, guys? So do we all now know how to make an array, how to change the values at different locations of your array, how to iterate over the array and print the contents of the array? Are we all clear with these three things? Yes. Why doesn't ARR.length show 20? No, it won't. It won't. It doesn't show the byte wise, right? Again, I told now you don't have to worry about all these as a programmer. At the end of the day, my ARR.length should be just 5 because I can store 5 integers. Okay, length is 5. Okay. Okay. So now what I will do is print ARR of 5. Okay. What will happen? Let's try to print ARR of 5. What do you think? Should it work or should it give you an error? No, during declaration, you cannot use ARR.length, right? For sure not. Okay, let's try to run and see what happens. See, it complains after printing the contents of the array, it complained. What did it complain? Index 5 out of bounds for length 5. That means, boss, you made an array of length 5 and you are trying to access index number 5. You know what? When your array length is 5 now, index number 5 is outside your array. It is not present in the array. For length 5, the valid indexes will be from 0 till 4. Okay. Just 1 second. Where am I doing a mistake? Long ARR, system not out. Doesn't seem like wrong. Yeah, what happens if I is less than equal to ARR.length? You only tell me what will happen, Sagar. If you do I is less than equal to ARR.length, then again you will enter into this runtime exception, right? Out of bounds aa jayega na. Because if my array length is 5, then there is no index 5, right? You have index till 4 only. Okay. Cool. So what is explain line number 16? See, what is line number 16, right? 16 and 22 I'll explain. See, what is 16 doing? See, once I have made an array, okay, once I have made an array, I want to iterate over the array and print the contents of the array. So what I am telling you, I know that every location has an index. I know every location has an index. So first of all, I go to index number 0. Okay, first of all, I की value will be 0. And what do? I do ARR of I. That is, I print the contents which is at index number 0. Then the value of I will become 1. I come here. And I print ARR of 1, which is I print the contents of this index, which is 3. Okay. Then the value of I will become 2. That is, I come to index number 2. And I will print ARR of 2, which is nothing but 0. Then the value of I will become 3. Okay. I come to index number 3. And when I print ARR of 3, 6 will be printed. Then the value of I will become 4. That is, I come to index number 4. And I will print the contents of this particular cell, which is 0. Is this making sense? Why is line number 25 not get printed? See, try to understand. What is the size of the array? Your array size is 5. Okay, you have made an array of size 5. So the indexes will be from 0 till 4. Okay. So if you print ARR of 5, there is nothing. Now see, the name of this array is ARR. So the valid index are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So ARR of 5 will be something here. Okay. And this is not a part of your array. So it will error out. कि भैया आपने array तो size 5 का बनाया है. So you can only access index 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. You cannot access index number 5 because that does not exist in the array itself. Right? Is it making sense, guys? ARR.length is nothing. ARR.length will just tell you the size of your array. As simple as this. What is line number 23? Line number 23 is I am printing the contents of the array on the same line. अरे ARR of 5 से declare तो क्यों नहीं कर सकते हो? See, Dhananjay, you can definitely make an array of size 5, right? But when you now try to print ARR of 5, it will give you an error because there is no index 5 in the array. When you are declaring or when you are making an array, then you are telling the size of the array will be 5. Okay. Okay. So I'll tell this print statement once what we are doing here. Okay. So I'm iterating over the indexes. So first of all, I come to index number 0. I print the contents. Let's say it was 0. So I print 0. Okay. And then I hit a space. Okay. Then again, I come to index number 1. I print the contents of index number 1. Put a space. Then I come to index number 2. Print the contents of index number 2. Put a space. Then I come to index number 3. Print the contents of index number 3, put a space, and then my job is done. So I am printing the contents of the array on the same line, separated by spaces. Okay. By मैं नहीं start करता हूँ, right? That's the standard. Okay. Yeah, we will take strings also, don't worry. But before that, now let us try to take input of an array from user. Okay. So first of all, we will take the input of an array from the user and then we will print the contents of the array back to the user. Okay. Is the question clear to everyone? I will take the array input from the user and then I will print the contents of the array. Okay. That's it. Why not? Why not? You can definitely change the contents of the array. Why not? Okay. Okay. So first of all, whenever I want to interact with the user, I need to have a scanner. So let us write import java.util.star. Okay. Now what do I do? First of all, let's make a scanner. Scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in. Okay, I made my scanner. Now what I will tell? I will tell the user, hey user, can you tell me what is the size of the array that you want to make? So I will ask the user. Okay, println, enter the size of the array. Okay, enter the size of the array. Now what will happen? I will expect the user to enter a number as input, which will be the size of the array that I will have to make. Now at line number 14, guys, try to understand. The user will give me an input and that input will be stored in n. So I now know what is the size of the array that I want to make. Okay. So what will we do? Now let us make an array. Int ARR is equal to new int of size n. Okay. The user has told me the size of the array. So now I make an array of size n. Okay. So now my array has been made, right? Now what I will ask the user? Hey boss, can you now give inputs for the array to me? So let's say if the user gives the size of the array as 10, okay, then the user should give you 10 different numbers which you will be storing in the array. Is this making sense what I'm trying to say? Let's say that the user gives the size of the array as 5. Then you will expect the boss, the user will now give you 5 numbers and you will store those 5 numbers in the array. Okay. So let us try to store, take inputs from the user and store it in the array. Okay. So how many inputs I have to take from the user? They are the same. They are the same. How many inputs I have to take from the user? See, my array is of size n, right? So I will be taking n different numbers input from the user to store it inside the array. Do you agree? Boss, the size of the array is n. Okay. So the user will be now supplying you n different numbers which you will be storing in the array. The first number that the user gives, you will store at index 0. The second number the user gives, you will store at index 1. The third number that the user gives, you will store at index 2. The fourth number that the user enters, you will store at index 3. The nth number that the user enters, you will store at index number n-1. Okay. So what do I want to do? I want to iterate over the indexes. So I will start from index 0 and I will go till n I plus plus. So I will start from 0 and go till n-1. Okay. So the first time the loop runs, the value of I will be 0. That is, I am standing at index number 0. So what will I do? I will take an input from the user. I will ask the user, hey user, enter a number, and I will store this number in ARR of I. Now see what have I done. Okay. What have I done, right? So now let us try to understand how this actually works. Okay. So let's say that the user has basically made an array of size 5. So the value of n is 5. Okay. So the user has made an array of size 5. Okay. Now what am I doing? My array is ready of size 5. Okay. So the indexes will be from 0 till 4. Okay. And all the locations currently have 0 filled. Okay. Now what will I do? I need to take 5 numbers input from the user and I want to store these numbers inside the array. Okay. So let us now try to do. For int I equal to 0. So first of all, the value of I will be 0. That is, I am standing at index number 0. So what do? I take an input sc.nextInt. I take an input from the user. So let's say the user enters 8. Okay. So 8 will be taken as the input. And where will it be stored? ARR of 0. So I will store 8 here in this location. Okay. And then we will do a I plus plus. Okay, I come to this. Okay. No, you need to know the size of the array, right? Otherwise, how will you take input from the user? Okay. Now, हाँ मैं वही बता रहा हूँ देखो. Now I move to I plus plus and I का value becomes 1. Okay. So now you are standing at index number 1. Okay. Now what do? ARR of I is equal to sc.nextInt. That is, ARR of 1 is equal to sc.nextInt. I don't know what is happening. Okay, ARR of 1 is equal to sc.nextInt. So what will happen? I take an input from the user. First of all, the right hand side is evaluated. So I take a number input from the user. Let's say the user inputs 10. So what will happen? This 10 will be taken and this will be stored in ARR of 1. That is, in this location, 10 will be stored. Okay. Then again, I go to the next iteration of the loop. The value of I now becomes 2. So now I am standing at index number 2. Again, I will wait for a user input. I take an input from the user. Let's say the user input 7. This 7 will be taken and it will be stored in ARR of 2. That is, 7 will be stored here. Then again, I plus plus will happen. I will come to index 3. I will take an input from the user and I will store it at this particular location. Okay. Then again, I plus plus will happen. I will take an input from the user and I will store it in ARR of I. That is ARR of 4. Okay. Now here it will be stored. Is this making sense how we are taking inputs from the user? How many of you are clear with what is happening? I am moving from index 0 till index number n-1, both inclusive. And for every index, I am taking an input from the user and storing it in that particular location. ARR of I में store कर दे रहा हूँ. Okay. So now repeat it in Hindi. Okay. देखो भाई मैं कुछ नहीं किया हूँ. What have I done? सबसे पहले मैं यूजर को बोलता हूँ भैया यूजर साइज बताइए एरे का, कितना एरे का साइज चाहिए वो मेरे को बताइए, ठीक है। तो यूजर मेरे को बोलता है कि आई वांट द साइज ऑफ द एरे एज n. Okay, I will take the input from the user and I will store the value of the size of the array in the variable n. अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूं, जब मेरे को पता चल गया है कि n is the size of the array that I want to make, I will make an array of size n. array बना लिया size n का। अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूं बॉस, मेरे पास array of size n ऑलरेडी रेडी है। अब मेरे को n नंबर्स इनपुट लेना है यूजर से और उनको array में स्टोर करना है। तो मैं क्या बोलता हूं, स्टार्ट फ्रॉम इंडेक्स 0 एंड गो टिल इंडेक्स नंबर n-1। तो देखिए मैंने क्या किया है, i इंडेक्स नंबर 0 से स्टार्ट हुआ है एंड i विल गो टिल n-1 इंक्लूसिव। तो i 0 से स्टार्ट होगा और n-1 तक जाएगा। सो वंस i की वैल्यू 0 होगी, व्हाट आई विल डू, आई विल रीड एन इनपुट। मैं बोलूंगा बॉस i की वैल्यू 0 है, लेट अस रीड एन इनपुट फ्रॉम द यूजर। ओके, लेट अस रीड एन इनपुट फ्रॉम द यूजर। यूजर इनपुट लूंगा and I will store it in index 0. I will store it at the ARR of 0 location. Okay. Then the value of I will become 1. फिर से मैं एक integer read करूंगा और I will store it at index number 1. Again, the I का value will become 2. So I am at index number 2. I will read an integer input from the user and I will store it at location number 2. That is ARR of 2. Okay. Why n-1? Bijen, can you tell me what is I actually telling me? I is telling me the index of an array. And if my array is of size n, what are the valid index ranges? From 0 till n-1 inclusive. So when you run I from 0, I less than n, matlab I will start from 0 and I will take values up till n-1. And these are only the valid index ranges. Do you agree? Right? Is this making sense? How to take input of array without giving the size of the array? अभी के लिए नहीं करेंगे ये, ठीक है? We can't do. Okay. So is this clear to everyone? How am I taking the inputs? And after taking the inputs, let's say I want to print the contents of the array, right? So let's make another loop and print the contents of the array. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. Why is int not written? Why will int be written? You have already declared an array once, right? So why will you write here int? Why will you write here int? No, never, right? You have declared an array once, na? So why will you declare it again? You will just take the input and store it in the variable. Okay. Can I be greater than n? See, what is I? I is an integer variable, right? I should be ideally less than equal to n-1 for it to be a valid index. But हाँ, तुम I को 20 रखो, 30 रखो, 40 रखो, no problem. But then I is not a valid index. Okay. Now what I am doing? I am again iterating through the array from index 0 till index number n-1. Okay. And what will I do? I will print the contents of the array. Okay. So let me print the contents in the same line, ARR of I. Okay, cool. Now let's try to run this code and see. So first of all, it asks me to enter the size of the array. So let's say I'm making an array of size 4. So I've given the size 4. Okay. Now it is waiting. It is waiting, right? Now I have to enter 4 numbers. Right? So either you can enter 4 space separated numbers or you can enter 4 numbers, in 4 different lines. Anything is fine, right? So let's enter the numbers as 3, 6, 7, 3. Okay. These are the 4 numbers, right? So now the moment I press enter, what will happen? This sc.nextInt will read this number, store it at index 0. Then the value of I will become 1. sc.nextInt will read this 6 and it will store it at index 1. Then this 7 will be read and it will be stored at index 2. Then this 3 will be read and it will be stored at index number 3. Okay. So all these 4 numbers will be stored in the array. Okay. And then this loop will run and the contents will be printed. See? 3673 is printed back again. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? How many of you are clear with this idea? What is happening? Very basic example of taking an array input from the user and printing the array back. Okay. Why will it not read the space? What does nextInt do? You have gone to the very fundamental discussion of nextInt, right? What does nextInt do? Does nextInt read space? Never, it doesn't. Now, nextInt will just read an integer till it encounters a space or it encounters a new line character. Okay. What will happen if you give more than 4 inputs? What will happen? Can anybody tell me? What will happen if I give more than 4 inputs? Let's say I've given the size as 4 and I give the inputs as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What will happen? It will ignore the rest of the things, right? It will ignore. What will happen? See, this loop will run only for n times, right? So this loop will run for 4 times and the first 4 values will be taken input. Okay. And those will be stored in the array. So this 5, 6 and 78 will simply be ignored. See, only 1, 2, 3, 4 are stored in my array. Okay. Cool. So I think this part is clear. This part is clear, right? So now let us try to solve a couple of questions on arrays so that, we get our understanding more better. Can we print array without using a loop? Yes, you can. You can. Why is it not showing any error? Why are you expecting it to show an out of bound error? Can you tell why are you expecting an error here? Can anybody explain to me why are you expecting an error? I am not expecting an error here. Why? देखो भैया मैंने क्या किया है? I have given the size of the array as 4. So n में 4 store हो गया. Then I have made an array of size 4. Okay. Then what am I doing? I am iterating over the array. First of all, index 0. I read an integer. So 1 will be read, stored in index 0. Let me draw what is happening, right? You have an array of size 4. Okay. So now this loop starts running. First of all, you are at index 0. You read an integer, 1, store it here. Then you come at index 1. You read an integer. Okay, 2, you store it here. Then you read an integer 3, you store it here. Then you read another integer, you store it here. Okay. Now what will happen? See, this loop has finished running. Now you come here and you just print the contents of the array. So all these numbers 5, 6 and 78 will simply be ignored. And now you will just iterate over this array from index 0 till index 3 and you will print the contents of the array. Okay. See, you have entered more than 4 numbers, but try to understand. Only the first 4 numbers are stored in the array. These will be ignored. These will be ignored. And then you are just iterating and printing the contents of your array. Okay. Cool. What if you give 3 inputs only? Then it will wait for your 4th input, right? The program will never terminate only. Okay. Everything we will do, store a blank space. If you want to store a blank space, your data type should be string and not an integer, first of all, right? Okay. So now let's try to solve a couple of questions on arrays so that we get our understanding more better. But just before I go further, right? Print string through array. I didn't get your question. Line number 21. What is line number 21? Line number 21 is nothing. Line number 21 is I am just printing the contents of the array in the same line separated by spaces. Okay. Now somebody has asked a very interesting question. What if I print ARR? What if I print ARR, right? ARR of I prints the elements, but what is ARR? Let's try to run and see. ARR is the, let's take. See what weird thing is coming. Can anybody identify what might be this? A very weird thing is coming when I print just ARR. ARR is the reference to the array. It is telling me the address at which my array is present, right? But that is what I told now. What will a human do with this address? 48140564. What is my job looking at this address? So I don't really care about addresses. I care about the elements. And we access the elements using ARR of I, indexing. Okay. Cool. Okay. So now another way of making an array will be something like this. See, int BRR. Okay. Okay. There is another way. If I know all the elements, right? Let's say I want to write the array like this. 4, 5, 8, 7, 9. Okay. So this is another way of making an array. An array of integers BRR, and what are the integers? 4, 5, 8, 7, 9. So if you know the elements that you want to store in the array, you can also declare and make an array like this. Okay. So this time you don't have to tell the size of the array, because when you already give in the numbers of your array, automatically the compiler will know that the size of the array is nothing but 5. So when you do brr.length, you will see 5 is printed. Okay. And all the other things remain the same. From index 0 till index 4, this array has, and you can, iterate over the indexes to print the contents of the array. Okay. Is the basic discussion till now clear to everyone? Yeah, addresses are in hexadecimal form. Addresses are in hexadecimal form. Okay. So now let's try to solve a question, right? We will take an array of integers input from the user. Okay. We will take an array of integers input from the user, and then you know what I will do? I have to print the maximum element of the array. Okay. I have to print the maximum number of the array. Okay. Out of bound wali error kab aati hai? Okay. Let me explain it once again. See, what I am telling you is, let's assume that you have made an array of size 10. Okay. You make an array of size 10. So when you have made an array of size 10, what are the valid indices in your array? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. These are the valid indices. Do you agree? From index 0 to index 9, these are the valid indices. Now, if you try to access an index that is not present in the array, भैया ऐसा सोचो कि आपने array बनाया है size 10 का. You have made an array of size 10. So you are only allowed to access indexes from 0 till 9. Now, if you try to access index number 12, which is not there in the array, then it will give you an error. If you try to print ARR of 12, na, it will give you an error कि भैया इंडेक्स नंबर 12 एरे के बाहर है, अपने बाउंड्स, अपने बाउंड्री के बाहर है. तो हाउ आर यू ट्राइंग टू एक्सेस इंडेक्स नंबर 12? Okay, the valid indexes that you can access is from 0 till 9. So if you try to access any non-valid index which is not a part of the array, you will get an out of bound error. कि boss, the index you are trying to access, that is out of bounds, that is outside the boundary of your array. Okay. Are there any predefined libraries in array like we see? So there is array lists inside collections. Okay, but we'll talk about it later. Okay. See, you don't have the flexibility of getting a one-based indexing, right? Indexing always starts from 0. Indexing always starts from 0, right? The first cell will always have an index of 0 only. Okay. Array does not show error out of bound as a function. Why? It's not a function, right? It's an error. Okay, I didn't get your question, to be very honest, but yeah. Okay, if the array size is not given at this point of time, we don't know how to take the input. Okay. So now let's go and look at the maximum number in the array. Okay. So what is the question? Let's solve one question and then maybe I can take more concerns. Okay. Acha guys, this weekend can we have problem solving sessions on arrays, because we would have done arrays. So this weekend we can do some problem solving session, exclusive problem solving, right? Take different questions from arrays and all these things. Okay. Okay, cool. So I think I get a good yes here. Cool. Sunday you will have a contest, right? Sunday you will have. On Saturday I'm thinking of holding a problem solving class. Okay. Cool. So now what is the question that we are looking? We are looking how long can an array size be? Okay, this is a question which you can Google up, right? Even I am not aware of the exact sizes, but for most of the fundamental things that we do, the size of the array is limited to, let's say, 10 to the power 3, 4, 5, and those sizes we can easily make, right? Yeah, we can do before 8 also. I will ask you guys for the timing, because Saturday is a holiday for me. I can take it anytime you want. So I'll ask the timings from you all, right? So originally I intend to have a long class in which we try to solve some problems. Okay. When is your communication class timing? Can you store multiple data type in one array? No, you cannot store multiple data types in one array. Okay. You can store a single object, and later we will be seeing that inside your object you can have multiple data types. आता है ऐसा नहीं आएगा आएगा. Okay. Okay, cool. Let's see. So the question that I am wanting to do is, you have been given an array. Okay, you have the access to an array. Okay. Array. Wait. Okay, I will print array without a loop also. You can Google it up also. Okay. सब करेंगे भाई. आज तो start किया arrays. Everything we will do. Don't worry. Okay. Now what I'm giving you is, the question is, boss, you have an array of integers. Okay, you have an array of integers. Now, can you tell me, you have an array of integers given by the user. Okay. Can you tell me the maximum element of your array of integers, right? What is the maximum number in my array? So my answer will be 12. 12 is the maximum number that is present inside the array. So how do I solve this problem? The problem is that you have been given an array of integers. Okay. ARR, you have access to this array. Okay. How do I find what is the maximum number of my array of integers? Can anybody come up with a logic? Can anybody come up with a logic? How do I find the maximum out of an array of integers? Nested loop. No, I don't think we'll need a nested loop. We'll not need a nested loop, right? So let us try to understand what is the logic. So think of it like you are a person. Okay. And you are standing on index number 0. You are standing here. Okay. So think of it, you are standing currently at index number 0. This is the array that you have seen. So what will I tell you? Currently, you are standing on index number 0. Okay. Currently, you are standing on index number 0. And what is the element at index number 0? 8. So I will assume that 8 is the maximum element in the array that I have seen so far. Do you agree? भाई देखो, मेरा जो आदमी है ना, my person is standing at index number 0. So the first element that I see in this array is 8. So I assume that 8 is only the maximum element. Okay. Now what I will do? I have assumed that 8 is the maximum element. Now let us iterate through the remaining part of my array. So first of all, I will come to index 1. What is the element at index 1? Index 1 is containing the element 7. Okay. Is 7 greater than 8? Is 7 greater? No. The current numbers that I am standing on is 7. And 7 is definitely lesser than 8. So definitely 7 is not the maximum element. Let us move forward. Now I come here. I come to 6. Is 6 greater than 8? No, 6 is not greater than 8. So definitely 6 is also not the maximum element of your array. Move forward. I come to index number 3. What is the element here? 10. Okay. Now, when I am at index number 3, ARR of 3 is nothing but 10. That is, I am dealing with the number 10. And I see that 10 is greater than 8, which is the maximum element that I have seen so far. मैं बोलता हूँ भैया अभी तक का maximum number 8 था, but ये जो 10 है ना, ये 8 से भी बड़ा है. So that means when I am standing on this number 10, I see that 10 is greater than the maximum number 8. So can I say now 10 will be my new maximum? Boss, you have got a number greater than 8. So definitely 8 will no longer be my maximum. So I will say now my new maximum is 10. I will update my maximum element. Okay. Next, I move further. I move forward. I come to 12. Is 12 greater than max? Yes. The maximum number that I have encountered till now was 10. And 12 is greater than 10. So I will again update the maximum. The boss, I have found the new maximum, which is 12. Okay. I move forward. Now I come to 8. I come to this element, which is 8. Is 8 greater than 12? No, it is not. So definitely this is not a maximum. Let's move forward. I come to index 6, which is containing the number 5. Is 5 greater than 12? No, 5 is not greater than 12. So I will move forward and I have finished, searching this entire array. Now, once I have finished traversing the entire array, can I say my answer is stored inside the maximum variable, which is 12? Okay. So my answer is 12. So मैंने किया क्या? First of all, I assumed that 8 is my maximum. Okay. And then I iterated over the remaining part of the array. The moment I see that ARR of I, let's say I am standing on index number I. If I see that ARR of I is greater than max, then I will update my maximum. Boss, your maximum will be ARR of I. Okay. Else you will not do anything. Okay. Is this basic logic making sense? Max is our variable name. Max is our variable name. Okay. Let's try to code this up. Let's try to code this up, right? देखो भाई मैं कर क्या रहा हूं, मैं एक बार हिंदी में भी बता देता हूँ बढ़िया से, ठीक है? So let's say that you have an array. Let's say you have an array, right? 8, 7, 12, 8, 13. Okay, you have an array. And मेरे को इसका मैक्सिमम निकालना है कि भैया सबसे बड़ा नंबर कौन सा है. तो मैं क्या बोलता हूं, I have indexes from 0 up till 4. Okay, so I will start from index 0. ठीक है, ऐसा समझो, ऐसा मानो कि you are standing at index number 0. You are standing at index number 0. And I have assumed that this element which is at index 0, this is the maximum. Okay, so let's say I have assumed that my answer is 8. This is my maximum. But भैया अभी तो आपके पास पूरा array देखना बाकी है. Just looking at the element at index 0, you cannot say that this is the maximum, right? You have to check every element present in your array. So I will start from index number 1. अब मैं index 1 से start करता हूँ. I come to index 1. What is the element here? 7. Is 7 greater than 8? No, it is not greater than 8. So definitely 8 is the maximum element till now. Okay, till index 1, 8 is the maximum. Now I come to index 2. Now I come to index 2. What is the element here? 12. Okay. The moment I see that 12 is greater than answer, that means 12 is greater than the maximum element that I had seen till now. अभी तक maximum 8 था, but जैसे ही 12 आया, this 12 is greater than 8. So I will update my answer कि boss, the new maximum now is 12. Okay. तो मतलब अब मेरे को पता है maximum number 12 है. Next I move forward, I come to index 3. What is the number here? 8. Is 8 greater than answer? No, it is not. So my current maximum is 12 itself. Okay. I move forward. I come to index 4. What is the number here? 13. Is 13 greater than 12? Yes, it is greater than 12. So I will update my answer. Ki boss, 13 is the new maximum. Okay. Then I move forward. Array finished. So what is my maximum in the array? 13. Okay. Is the logic making sense to everyone? How many of you are able to understand the logic? My question is, अगर मेथड में लिखते हैं तो आउट ऑफ बाउंड एरर नहीं आता है? आता है. Why not? Why not? Definitely it will come. Okay, cool. So let's try to code this question up. Let's try to quickly code it. See guys, today's class is very important, right? So I will request everyone कि एक बार आज के क्लास के रिकॉर्डिंग को देखना, have a look at today's recordings, okay, and try to understand the fundamental concepts of arrays, right? I'll share reading articles with you also where you can read about arrays and all these things, but I think today's class is like very important because you have to get clear with the concepts of an arrays, because now mostly in the course we will be talking of arrays only. Okay. Okay. Can you use a math.max? Yes, you can. Right. Okay. So now let us try to, quickly do it. So first of all, let's take, import java dot util dot star. Okay. Yes, tomorrow is class, guys. Okay. Tomorrow is class, normal timing, 8 o'clock, right? So tomorrow we have class. Okay. So now, अच्छा मैं क्या सोच रहा हूँ guys, tell me how does this plan sound to you all? Tomorrow I am thinking कि I'll introduce 2D arrays to you, and day after tomorrow, that is on Friday, I will introduce strings to you, right? And Saturday and Monday, okay, मैं तो Sunday भी ले सकता हूँ, I don't have a problem. So I was thinking that over the weekend we just solve problems on arrays, 2D arrays, strings, whatever we discuss till Friday. 2 days exclusively we do problem solving, and from Monday then we pick up a new topic, right? That is what I was thinking, so that we are on the pace also, and at the same time we are solving problems also. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's have a look, right? Let's have a look. No weekend. See, it will be an optional class first of all, but I will highly recommend all of you to attend it, right? Or watch the recordings at least, because I have seen it, right? And people did benefit a lot from the, the problem solving sessions. Okay. So I will highly recommend all of you to attend the sessions. Okay. We'll have the timing chalked out before, but yeah. यार ऑप्शन मतलब मैं फोर्स तो नहीं कर सकता ना, मतलब वैसा वाला बात है। लेक्चर भी मैं फोर्स थोड़ी कर सकता हूँ। इफ यू अटेंड यू अटेंड, इफ यू डोंट अटेंड यू डोंट अटेंड। ओके, कैन वी इनिशियलाइज इंडेक्स यूजिंग float double data type? Why not, right? If you have an array of floats or array of doubles, why not? Okay, okay, let's have a look, right? Let's try to solve the question. Okay, so first of all I will make a scanner. Okay, scanner sc is equal to new scanner system.in, right? I made a scanner. Okay, now what I will do, I will take input of the size of the array from the user. So I have taken the size of the array input from the user, and then let's make an array of size n, right? Int arr is equal to new int n. Okay, I made an array of size n. Okay, now what I want to do, I want to take all the elements of the array input from the user. So what will I do, I will run a for loop for int I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. I run a for loop for I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and I will take input from the user and store it at the ith index in my array. Okay, so one by one the elements will be taken. The first element will be stored at index 0, the second element will be stored at index 1, the third element will be stored at index 2, and likewise. Okay, so I have taken the inputs of the array from the user. Now what I want to do, now my job is to find what is the maximum element of this array. Okay, so first of all, what did I assume? I assume that my answer is nothing but ARR of 0. I assume that the element which is present at index 0, that is my answer. I have assumed that this is the maximum element of my array. I have assumed this is the maximum element of my array. Okay, but can I say that this only is the maximum? No, I have to check and iterate through the entire array before I know what is the maximum element. Okay, so what will I do? देखो भैया, मैंने assume किया है कि the maximum element is at index number 0. Okay, so now I will start iterating from index 1 till the end of the array. So let's start iterating. For int I equal to 1, okay, I will go till the end of the array, that is I less than n, I plus plus. So now I am iterating through the remaining indexes of the array. Okay, so now can I say I am at index I? Can I say inside this loop, boss, I am standing at index number I? What is the meaning of I? It is an index, right? So I am standing at index number I. So what do I check? If the current element, if the element at index I, that is ARR of I, if this element that I am currently dealing with, if this is greater than the maximum element that I am tracking, okay, if ARR of I is greater than the maximum element that I am tracking, what should I do? I should update my maximum element. So max will be equal to ARR of I, as simple as that. Okay. Now, if ARR of I is less than equal to max, then you don't do, because max will not change, right? Do you all agree with this? Do you all agree with this? Yes? How many of you understand the logic that I have written? So two questions I will answer. Okay, two questions I will answer. Line number 20, not clear. What is, okay. So the first question that you might have asked, hey others, why have you started it from I equal to 1? And why not from I equal to 0? है ना? पहला question यही होगा, why I equal to 1, why not I equal to 0? The reason is, if you look very carefully, let's say this is my array. Okay. Okay, this is my array, let's say. Okay, the valid indexes are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूं, ध्यान से सुनो मेरे बात को. I am assuming कि the maximum element is the one that is at ARR of 0. So I have already taken कि boss my maximum element can be 5. तो मैंने तो already store कर लिया ना कि 5 can be my one possible answer. 5 can be my one possible answer. तो जब मैंने 5 को already store कर लिया आंसर में, so now I just want to start from it, right? From index number 1. Okay. You can start from index 0 also. There won't be any problem, right? There won't be any problem. Okay. You have taken the answer as ARR of 0. You start from index 0. No issue. What will happen? Nothing will happen, right? That will not get updated. Okay. And then you go to index 1. You do a comparison, you update. Okay. Now try to understand. Now try to understand how is this working. First of all, I am doing int max is equal to ARR of 0. So I am telling you that my maximum number is nothing but ARR of 0, which is 5. Okay. Now I start iterating from index 1. I start iterating from index 1. Okay. I start from index 1. Is ARR of 1 greater than max? Is 8 greater than 5? Yes. So I will update ki boss max is equal to ARR of 5. Okay. See, why have we not compared with index 0? Redmi, try to understand. I have already taken ARR of 0 as my answer, right? So why do you again want to compare? Okay. See, I have already taken ki boss, my answer is 5, ARR of 0. So let's say even if you start at index 0, what will happen? 5 greater than 5? No, you won't be doing anything. You will move forward. 8 greater than 5? Yes. So you will update the answer by 8. Okay. Then you will come to 7 or index number 2. Is 7 greater than 8? No, I don't do anything. Okay. I come to index number 3. Is 3 greater than 8? No, I don't do anything. I come to 10. Okay. Is 10 greater than 8? Yes. So I update my answer as 10. Okay. And then outside this for loop, I can just print system.out.println maxx. Okay. Does everyone understand why I have run my loop from I equal to 1? And what will happen if you run from I equal to 0? Nothing will happen, right? The answer will remain the same itself. Okay, no changes. Okay. Okay. Let's try to run it and see if it's working fine. So first of all, I will enter the size. Let's say 5 is the size of the array. Then I'll enter the numbers 23, 45, 24, 15, and let's say 8. Okay. So what is the maximum? The maximum is 45. Let's try to run it. See, 45 is printed. Okay. So 23, 45, 24, 15, 8 were stored in the array. Okay. And then your maximum element is 45, which is printed. Okay. How many of you are not clear with what is happening? Why line number 15? Line number 15 is to take the input of the array, right? I am taking the inputs from the user and storing it inside the array. Okay. And line number 23. Line number 23 is nothing, right? See, I am standing at index number I. So first of all, I observe the boss, if the element at index I is greater than max, that means this element will be the new maximum. So I update my maximum equal to ARR of I. Okay. Is this clear to everyone? If max is ARR of 0, what will happen? What will happen? Can anybody tell me? If my maximum number is at index 0 itself, what will happen? My max will be ARR of 0, right? And the updation will not happen. Okay. How to print index value? I'll ask you how do you print the index value? Okay. Chalo. Let's have another variable, right? Int index. Let's have another variable. And I will initialize my index with 0. Okay. So first of all, I have assumed that the maximum element is ARR of 0 and the index of the maximum element will be 0. Okay. Now, can you tell me one line of code that I should write so that I also update my index? Whenever I see that ARR of I is greater than max, I will update my maximum equal to ARR of I and I will update my index is equal to I. So later you can print the maximum and you can also print the index at which your maximum element is present. Okay. So if I run it and see, the 5 is the size, 10, 57, 45, 89, 10. Okay. See, 89 and index is 3. See, 0, 1, 2, 3. Index number 3, 89. That is maximum. Okay. So is everyone clear with this question? Let's try to be. इतना सारा क्वेश्चन एक बार चैट पे मत लिखो, मैं पागल हो जाऊंगा. ठीक है. But yeah, is everyone clear with the solution? Second largest, forget. Is everyone clear with the largest? Acha. Now one very small thing that I want you guys to understand is, देखो, यहाँ पे ना पहले मैंने assume किया है, I have assumed that my maximum is ARR of 0. Okay. But you might also see codes written like this. Now, what is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? What is the meaning of this? Int max is equal to integer dot min value. Think of it like this is like minus infinity. Okay. मैं बोल रहा हूँ भैया the maximum element is minus infinity. So why have I done this? Why have I done this? Try to understand. The first time my max is minus infinity, right? So the moment, now this time I will start from index 0. Then I will have to start from index 0. So I start from index 0. My element is, let's say, 5. So I will compare. Is 5 greater than minus infinity? Yes. So I will update my answer to be 5. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? You can also do like this. Int max is equals to minus infinity, and then you start from index 0. Okay. So what will happen? First of all, you have assumed that the maximum number is minus infinity. And the moment you iterate through the array, okay, the first element will definitely be greater than minus infinity. So you will update your answer. And then again, the same updation happens. Okay. Cool. So, not clear 19. मैं बता रहा हूँ 19 देखो क्या बोल रहा है 19 is telling you कि boss I wanted to find the maximum number ना I wanted to find the maximum integer from the array. So I have first of all initialized my answer with minus infinity. I have assumed that my answer is minus infinity. Now why have I assumed it minus infinity? Now I iterate through my array. So let's say my first element is 5, then 15, okay, or let's say then 1, and just 1 second. Okay, then let's say your answer here is 20, then let's say you have 25, then let's say you have 8. ठीक है, तो मैंने assume किया है कि my answer is minus infinity. Okay, now I start iterating through the array. First of all, I come at index 0. I will compare this 5 with answer. Is 5 greater than minus infinity? Definitely. So my answer will get updated to 5. Okay, then I will move forward. Is 1 greater than 5? No, I will move forward. Is 20 greater than 5? Yes, I will update my answer. Is 25 greater than 20? Yes, I will update my answer. Is 8 greater than 25? No. So my answer is 25, which is the maximum element. Okay? No, lower than infinity, how can you use? Okay. Cool, guys. So I think that should be it. You can also do, we can store the 0th index value in max and go down comparing. That is also fine. Okay. So one homework for you all will be find the minimum element in the array. Very simple, right? Find the minimum element in the array. Okay. Now, what is math.max? Achha. So integer.min value समझ में आ गया. Now, what is math.max? See, if I want to find the maximum of two numbers now, then no. For what is there no? किसके लिए नो बोल रहे हो? Integer dot min value is coming under no topic as such, right? It is just like, you know, I have initialized my max with integer dot min value, that is minus infinity. So the moment you do a first comparison now, this max will be changed from minus infinity to the element that is present in the array. That's it. Okay. अच्छा, अब मेरे को एक चीज बताओगे? When you are looking for the minimum element in the array, what can you initialize your min with? Either you can initialize it with the first element of the array, or you can initialize it with integer dot max value. Okay. Cool. So that should be it. Integer dot min value is case sensitive. Yes, you have to write it like this, right? Min underscore value full capital. Okay. Yeah, why won't it run? If all elements are negative, still also it will work, right? Let us try to run it for all negative elements. Let's say we have 5 elements, -1, -2, -5, -6. Sorry, what happened? Server lost. 1 second. Five, okay, -1, -2, -3, -5, -8. Okay, these are the 5 elements. So the largest will be -1, which is present at index 0. Okay, cool. Second largest बता दो, question solve करना है. Just for the sake of solving questions, I won't be telling, right? First of all, you will have to think about it. You have to spend some time, right? ऐसे थोड़ी बता दूंगा यार. है ना? ठीक है. So guys, is everyone clear with this? Okay, now I can take questions for the next 5 minutes if any questions you have, because no point in starting a new question. ये थोड़ा एक एक करके लिखो, otherwise I can't see. Integer dot min value is predefined. Yes, it is predefined. Okay, this is predefined. So in integer dot min value. So inside the integer, class, you have an attribute known as min value. This is the minimum value that an integer variable can hold. Okay. Cool. So yeah, searching a number we will do. I think we'll do it tomorrow. Okay. So is everyone clear with the fundamentals of array? Integer dot minimum value is really needed. No, if you are, doing from, let's say if you want to do like this, right? Do it like this, you won't be needing it, right? Let's say ARR of 0, you won't be needing it. Okay. Cool, guys. So I think it's clear to everyone. So tomorrow we'll solve a couple of questions on arrays, and then we will move to two-dimensional arrays. Okay. So that is the idea for tomorrow. Again, we'll be solving a couple of questions on array for the first 1 hour, and then we will try to go on to solve, understand something about, two-dimensional arrays. Okay. Arey, kya ho gaya, bhai? Integer dot min value. What happened? Integer dot min value and math dot minimum. What is the difference? See, math dot minimum, that is a function that will find the minimum of two integers, right? But integer dot minimum value is just a number, which is minus infinity. Think of it like the smallest value that your integer variable can hold. Okay. Okay. So guys, any other questions you have, DM me on Discord, ping me on Discord, right? And you can start, solving your assignments of arrays also. And tomorrow we will try to solve a couple of more questions on arrays, and then we'll try to move on to two-dimensional arrays. Okay. And this weekend we will be having problem solving classes where we'll be solving, questions on arrays and all these stuff, right? Okay. कल वाले दोनों क्वेश्चन रह गए. I think we will do it. We will take them in the weekend maybe. Okay, I think weekend पे कर लेंगे. ठीक है? Yes, string array is also possible. Can another array store another array? Yes, multi-dimensional arrays we will talk about tomorrow. Okay. And yes, Sunday you will have a contest, right? So we'll get on the timings. Okay. Cool. Cool, guys. So I think that should do it. Okay. How to print index only? भैया कुछ नहीं करना है आपको. अगर खाली index print करना है तो what you will do? Remove this max line from here, right? Just print the index as it is, right? Okay. Cool, guys. Math.max. See, what is math.max? I'll just spend 1 minute. Let's say you have two variables, right? And you want to find the maximum out of these two, right? So either you can write your own code. If A is greater than B, max is equal to A, else max is equal to B. But let's say I want to find what is the maximum, right? You can also do something like this. Println math.max. Boss, find what is the maximum out of A and B. And whatever will be the maximum out of A and B, that will be printed. Okay. If you see, see 10. So what is the maximum out of A and B? B, which is 10. So 10 was printed. Okay. Cool, guys. Any other questions I will be taking on later from Discord. We'll end the class today, and tomorrow's agenda will be solving some questions on, arrays, and then we'll move to two-dimensional arrays. Okay. Chalo, cool, guys. Where to learn? I'll share article links, right? ऐसे हम लोग solve कर करके सीखेंगे. That is like better. Okay. Cool, Manish. We'll see. I will have a look, right? Okay. But yeah, the major way of learning is by solving problems, right? So when you solve today's problem, you understand one new concept of integer.max value, integer.min value, something like this, right? So yeah, with every question, we learn something new, definitely. Okay. Chalo, guys. Bye-bye. I'll stop the sharing. And yeah, guys, one thing that I forgot. Yesterday, I shared a document. Most of you will get access to it, I think, right? So they are containing the codes that we are discussing, right? So did you get access to this document? No? No, okay. Okay, I think Lakshya will share it today. I shared with him yesterday. I think he must have forgotten. So yeah, this document will contain all the things that we are discussing, right? So whatever important concepts and whatever codes that we are discussing, right? Everything will be there in this. Okay, everything. So like for the loops, right? We did this question, print numbers from 1 to 12 and some of the first 10 natural numbers, even numbers from 100 to 0, multiplication table of a number, right? Sum of digits of a number, all codes we will be having so that later on you can refer to it when you are revising. Okay. So yeah, this is one doc that I maintain for all batches. So I'll maintain for you all also. And just for info, you can take the link, but I think that will be shared with you all. Everyone in the meeting, Control V, share कर दिया हूँ, ठीक है? Okay guys, cool. Let's meet tomorrow. And now the interesting part starts, right? And we will be solving questions. Okay. Cool. Chalo guys, bye bye. Good night. Yeah, I'll take timings from you all. Don't worry. Okay. If you want Sunday, we can have in the morning. Saturday, if you want, we can have in the evening. Whatever is fine. Okay. Chalo guys. Bye bye.